Hey, this is Dr. Green with Momenta Chiropractic, and today we're going to go over one of our favorite exercises for being able to stabilize the hip, especially as part of our rehab program to get back into the gym after a back injury. So I'm sure this exercise has a name. I'm honestly not exactly sure what that name is. So we pretty much call it a single leg rotational RDL. And we're gonna show two variations of it. One with a landmine, so like a barbell kind of setup, and then one with a kettlebell just in case you don't have access to the landmine. If you do, easiest way to kind of set up a landmine, we use a 45-pound plate kind of put in a place where it's not going to slide, and then you can fit the end of the barbell right into the ring of that plate, and then you can load it as needed. You don't necessarily need to add extra bumper plates or anything like that. You can just use the weight of the barbell, whatever works for you. So just as a quick note for setup, I'm always going to stand in a direction where the weight is going to be in the opposite hand of my stance leg. So if I want to work the right hip, I'm going to stand so that the weight is in my left hand when my right foot is forward, okay? So in order to do this, we're going to reach down, grab the weight, and then what I want to do is I want to start just with a little bit of a hip hinge. I'm going to make sure that my core is braced, right? So big belly breath in. And then what I'm going to do is hinge hips back and then rotate the hips down, so left hip down toward the floor to be able to get a good stretch and engagement out of the stance leg hip, so my right hip on this side. Then to get out of this, I'm gonna push through the floor, through my foot, squeeze my glute, and bring my hip forward to get a good contraction through the hip, but not overextend or overcorrect by using the back, okay? So again, a little bit of a hip hinge, a little bit of rotation, and then I'm gonna get out of it by squeezing glute, pushing foot through floor to get that good glute engagement. So real speed, it's gonna be back and then pushing through. I'm gonna show this on the opposite side. So left foot forward, weight in the right hand, slight hip hinge, rotate hips, not back, rotate hips down to get good engagement through that back hip, and then pushing forward to get a good glute squeeze. So one more time, hinge hips, rotate, use the hips to get myself back upright, okay? So that's an example with a barbell in a landmine press. Same thing applies with a kettlebell. So for this example, we'll hold it in the left hand to work the right leg. Same thing, same setup, just a little bit more kind of free weight. So I'm gonna hinge back, I'm gonna rotate into it, and then push through glute and hip, get myself back upright. Same thing on the other side. Core brace, hips back, rotate in, explode out. Cool. So similar thing, you can use a kettlebell, you can use a dumbbell, anything that just helps to kind of get into that position and load it. And the most important thing is that we're really using the hip and not the low back to be able to create that tension and then get out of it. So a lot of people who end up getting back pain with lifting are compensating using their back. So this is something that we use just to be able to get them used to loading their hip instead. So hope that's helpful. If you do have any questions, feel free to let us know.